Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, both classic and new comics we want to read, and everything else in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. Today we are reading Batman Noel for the holidays.
That's right.
And and you might hear a little difference in the audio. That's because me and John celebrating festivities separated. So we're doing a Zoom version today. So John's audio quality might be a little different than normal.
But hopefully it still sounds the same. That's why I didn't chime in with the intro like normal. But I am here, and I am.
John didn't die. It's not just me.
But I'm excited about Batman Noel. This is a fun little read, fun holiday-esque tale for us to relay to you, our lovely audience, during these holiday times.
Yeah, and this one we should say, you said it was from 2013, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is written and drawn by Lee Bermejo. So a little history on him. He has a very, very cool art style. And specifically, he's worked with Brian Azzarello, who did like 100 Bullets and a bunch of crime books. He wrote, he co-wrote with Frank Miller, the Dark Knight Master Race series.
Oh, okay.
And the one before that, The Last Crusade, the one with Robin, where
with Robin, yeah.
Cool. So that's like, he's kind of known as a gritty writer or whatever, And so like they did a bunch of books together. One of them was called Luther. One of them was called Joker. And basically his style is very, we'll call it realistic. He also did, Batman Damned, that came out last year, where it showed Batman's wiener. That's the most it was known for. Was that it was the first Black Label book that came out when DC switched to Black Label, which was their adult line, and then they were like, "Oh, it's the adult line. We can do whatever we want. We'll just not censor his wiener in the Batcave." And then
is that the hardcover I got you? Was it the Damned?
No, that was the Prince.
The Prince, okay.
Prince Charming or Prince, something about Prince. Not Prince, but
Batman, Prince.
Yeah.
The alternate timeline where Prince actually is Batman. That's his alter ego.
Yeah, and that's why he did the soundtrack for the Batman movie in 1989. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to give a little history on Lee Bermejo, and this is, like, as far as I know, his first solo thing that he did for DC. And this is, of course, a Christmas themed book, as it's called Noel, and it is basically a Batman story that is told, or that is happening in the background while a Christmas Carol is being told over it.
Two very different Christmas movies.
Very, very much so. So, you have someone, a narrator, who's supposed to be like a kid and his dad talking, right? It's about a kid saying that his dad told stories.
Yeah.
So I think it's a grown-up kid saying, "Oh, my dad used to tell me stories, and this is what he would tell me."
Yeah, I assumed that this was maybe like old Tiny Tim-ish, or his son,
it's Tim.
his son,
Yeah.
Tim.
I assume too, but they don't 100% confirm that. And then also, it's kind of like, how would he know what was going on with the Batman stuff at all? You know what I mean? So like, it's weird because he'd be like an omniscient narrator, but like he wasn't in the scenes for any of that, if he's a real character in this book. But anyway, we start off in good old Gotham, wintertime, and snowy Gotham. And it is pretty run down looking. I don't know, everything just looks kind of brick and mortar buildings, old though. And we are introduced to the idea that Batman is on the hunt for something going on. He's chasing down the Joker, who has escaped and is plotting something, but we don't know what it is yet. And this is the Batman that we learn a little bit later, that this Batman is right off the heels of Jason Todd being killed. So somewhere in the late 80s is when this happens. I think it's late 80s it's definitely late 80s when that Robin was killed, Jason Todd. And
he's pretty gruff right now, though. He's
he's in a bad mood. He's in a very bad mood because of that. I think John, you didn't know at first that this was actually set in the 80s. So you thought this was like a future older Batman, right?
I assumed it was like an old grizzled Batman, but I guess it makes sense. I didn't think of the timeline. I honestly didn't think of it as being in timeline. I just thought of it like a separate side story.
That makes sense too. This could be like an Elseworld story. But yeah, they do mention later on that he's working alone for sure. But his partner left him, and when they show his partner, it's Jason Todd's specific Robin suit. So that's why I was like, okay, this has to be, in my mind, right after when Jason Todd was murdered. And so that's why he's all angry and everything. And one thing they do in this book is there's a guy named Bob who they introduce at the very beginning, and he's working for the Joker, but only because he needs the money, because he works at a I don't know, a factory or something for Wayne Industries, and he doesn't make any money barely, and he's living paycheck to paycheck and all that. Him and his kid barely scraping by, and it just doesn't. It's not working for him, so he's gotta make some extra income, and the easiest way to do that right now is just all he's gonna do is get a bunch of money for delivering a box. Seems pretty simple.
It's a package guy.
Yeah, just a package. There's nothing harmful in that package that he knows of. No one's saying this is a bomb or anything. So he's just delivering it. And Batman is like, okay, I'm going to go to this place. Because they don't say how he knows, but he's like, he already knows he's got to go to this toy store, right?
He's the world's greatest detective. I mean, we know he
True.
knows.
He knows it. He has done his detecting. And that therefore he knows he must go to this toy store where there's a drop-off happening. So and like I said, Wayne is not in a very, or Bruce is not in a very good headspace right now. So he in this story is the Scrooge character. Now, when I say the words of A Christmas Carol are over what's going on in the story, yeah, he's very much the Scrooge guy, and Bob Cratchit just happens to be the guy's name that works for him in the story and in Christmas Carol. He is Bob, who works for the miserly Scrooge. So it's a very interesting dynamic that Wayne is Bruce is so distraught from Robin dying that he's even letting that go over into his business, or he's treating people like shit apparently.
Yeah, we kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. Matt and I were talking about this before. Like, I get, because I mean, Bruce Wayne is normally put together, and like, so we wouldn't think something like that would slip by. But give the benefit of the doubt of like, he just lost Robin. He's in a bad spot. Maybe there's some corporate greed going on in over at Wayne Enterprises that he is not privy to or not caring about currently because he's focused on his Batman stuff.
Right. So, yeah, we're giving him the benefit of the doubt that, okay, for this story, we're suspending belief that even though in most other comics, Bruce Wayne is the only nice billionaire in the world or whatever and treats his people good, in this one, he treats his people bad, just as bad as Scrooge. So, and this Bob Cratchit is, so distraught that, he's working for the Joker as a courier. So anyway, Bob gets to the Jack in the Box toy store. That's what it's called. And which is all boarded up. And obviously it's weird. There's lights inside, or it looks like there's lights inside the window. And there's at least a diorama on the front, the glass window front. But the door's all boarded up and shit. So it's like, okay, is it out of, you wouldn't think, you think that glass window would be broken and the toys would be looted if it was actually out of business or whatever. But he gets there and he drops off a package. We see that he has a note from the Joker that's like, just slip it in the the door where there's like a hole in the door, and I'll slip out the other box. And so he does it. He drops off the box and gets another box that comes out that we find out later is full of money. And we find that out because Batman arrives and sees this drop off and proceeds to beat the fuck out of out of Bob Cratchit. Like way more so than needs to be for a, random guy who's not like a super villain or whatever. He like pushes him on the ground. He scares the shit out of him. He's about to punch his fucking face in. And he's like, he basically, we see the money spill out, and Cratchit is so scared that he just lets the money go and runs away because Batman's like, you're gonna be fucking bait. Like, you know what? I'm gonna use you because you are supposed to drop off this money. Now, the money, I guess, was supposed to go back to Joker because Joker gave him a box.
Yeah.
And then to deliver and then take the second box back. And then he's supposed to get a cut or his own money. So this money is the Joker's money. And Batman's like, Joker's going to want that collected. And he's going to think you stole it or lost it or whatever. So he's going to come get you. So I'm going to wait for him to come get you because you're a bad guy. And all bad guys, no matter how little or like menial the crime, are worthy of, execution or whatever the fuck. This Batman, like we said, is way hardcore for some reason. Yeah. The death of Jason Todd really fucked him up. So he's, like I said, literally about to beat the fuck out of this guy. But he's like, you know what? You're going to be the best bait. The best live bait is better than jail bait. So I'm not going to take you to jail for this. I'm going to like let you be the bait for the Joker. So he lets Bob run away. And but he puts a tracker on him, of course. So and then like, I don't know. I mean, they show this, but Batman breaks into the toy store just to verify like what's going on. And then like he looks in there and there's a Joker looking Jack in the Box that's smiling and shit. And he like, there's a note left for him and basically says, you're too slow, old man. So, and he's all pissed off at Joker, especially because Joker's the one who killed Jason Todd. So, yeah. And then we cut to nice little Timmy. What's his last? Timmy Cratchit, I guess. But what's his nickname in the Christmas Carol?
Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim. There you go. Yeah. They don't call him Tiny Tim in this, right?
But he has a bum leg. That's his, like, he's got a bum leg in this, it says.
Yeah, I remember Tiny Tim mostly from the Muppets Christmas Carol, which was my version of that story, where Tiny Tim's like, that's us, everyone. So he looks so much more frail in that movie than he does in this one. Yeah. But we do see how poor they are. They're living in like basically a tenement where you see like the outside of the building where all the plaster's falling off, the like stucco mortar, and you just see the bricks underneath. So there's no like insulation or anything. And it's snowing outside and he's by a window and you see he's got a dead tree, like a dead little plant in a coffee can. And he's putting ornaments that he made. And one of them is a Bud or a Miller Lite can that is slit down the side so it can like bulge out in the middle, kind of like an ornament. And the other one is a broken beer bottle.
The broken beer bottle is the one that got me, yeah.
Like one that you would like stab someone in the neck with at a bar when you're like pissed off and drunk and fighting.
Yeah.
So Cratchit comes home and is like freaking out, like, oh my God, Batman's chasing me. And now the Joker's going to be after me. And the kid's like, hey, Pa, look at what I made. And he's like, fuck this. Like, damn it. I don't have time for this bullshit tree you made, kid. And, Tim's like, oh, like, he's all sad. And then he's like, hold on, son. Hold on. Let me put my worries aside, which is like life and death shit. What were you saying about this tree? And basically he gets told what the ornaments are.
It's our Christmas tree.
Yeah. And it's pretty ridiculous, but it's really heavy handed. We'll say that.
Yeah. I did like, he said that his friend has like a Batman thing on their tree and he wants to cut out something and put a Batman on this tree. And Bob's like, well, why would you want to put Batman on a Christmas tree?
Batman's not nice.
And he's like, no, but I thought you said Batman was good. And, basically, we should, not everybody is bad, everybody is, thinks he's like that or whatever. And so, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's basically like, because he has an army man on there too with like a hole through his head that he put a string on. and he put a Superman sign on his chest because he's like, it's like red, like Christmas. And then he's like, why? Well, okay, but why would you want Batman on? He's like, well, Batman and Superman are heroes. So yeah, basically he's like, the dad's like just had a meeting or like a run-in with Batman and does not really like Batman because he almost beat the fuck out of him and took him to jail. And then said, I'm going to use you and your kid as bait. So, and also Bob did tell him, I have a kid. And he's like, well, fuck your kid. Like, he basically says that. He's like, I don't care that you have a child. You're going to be bait and the Joker's going to show up to your house and whatever happens is on you. So, yeah, not a bit of a humbug, you might say. I don't know. You know, that's not in the Christmas spirit. But then we cut to Wayne Manor where he's now waiting, I guess. Bruce is waiting for the Joker to make his move and show up at Bob's house. And so he just kind of has, I guess he's got a video camera that's like droning around from his beacon and looking into the window of the Cratchit's house because he says something about a drone watching them or whatever. So and that's how he's like, I guess, I don't know. I mean, I guess if the Joker shows up, he could get there within 3 minutes or something. I'm assuming that's what it is. What it is like.
Yeah, the fact that he would go all the way back to the Batcave to watch this, and it's like, okay, the Joker shows up. I mean, he might kill somebody, but I'll get there, you know, just in the nick of time to grab the Joker.
Yeah, at least, hopefully. I don't know, you know. But also they show that he's sick. He's got like a cough, some kind of bad juju going on with his lungs. This is before the vid, so it's not that, but you know, he he definitely has some kind of cough going on. And of course, Alfred, as always, is his trying to be his guiding light for like, wait, you're putting a child in danger, Bruce? And he's like, yeah, so who gives a shit? Like, why would I care about a child? You know, like, so at least you got Alfred there being like, maybe the kid will be okay. And then Bruce goes on to say, what does he say about like kids growing up to be like their...
Oh yeah, he's gonna basically, you know, he's raising a criminal is raising a child, so he's going to grow up to be, you know, exactly like him, basically. I'm sure, because you know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Yeah,
and so that's just assuming that every villain's kid is going to grow up and be a villain as well. Like, so that's the mood that he's in.
Yeah, but then, Alfred.
Oh yeah, go ahead. No, you go.
Oh, I love that Alfred's like, yeah, well, I mean, I know you're mad now, but didn't you also know a boy who, you know, came from kind of a rough background, but you were able to kind of help out? I don't know. Maybe that's just me talking. I know he's dead and all now, but whatever. See you later, Bruce, I guess.
Yeah, and well, this is specifically important because when he, I don't know if you've ever read the origin of Jason Todd. I don't know if it's okay. There's two origins of Jason Todd. There was one comic that came out, and then like he was too much like where he was like a circus guy, like Dick Grayson. Yeah. And then like I can't remember, maybe like 12 issues later, like, we don't like that. Never mind. He was on the wrong side of the tracks, kid. He was stealing tires from the Batmobile, and that's how Batman caught him and was like, "What are you doing, kid?" And he's like, nuts to you. And then he's like, nah, I'm going to make this scrappy little kid Robin. And so like, that's how Jason Todd's actual, or the origin that people like is that one. Okay. So that's what he's talking about. Oh, that's, you know, he was on the wrong side of the tracks or what. He was a criminal technically. And then the thing I like about this is, so all the bat suits are in the background, you know, all of the Robin ones too, in their display cases that he has them in for some reason. And, and as Alfred's walking out of the bat cave, he like flips a switch to the Robin one, so it lights up, so that it's like lit in the background, and now Bruce can see it lit up, and it's like a memory of that was Jason, you know, or whatever. So like it's trying to like evoke a memory in Bruce and us as the readers, and then we get like a nice little flashback to them. You know, crime fighting and everything, and then we see what happens a bit where we don't see what happens, but we get recalled of Joker beat the fuck out of him with a crowbar and killed him. So then this was an interesting thing too. Batman, I guess he like goes to the Batcave and then goes back out, and then goes to the Batcave and then goes back out. I think that's weird because I don't know where Bruce Manor or where Wayne Manor is in relation to the city, but it seems like a very far trek.
Yeah, they always make it seem like like it's like out in the country
Right.
compared to like
It's on a cliff. Usually it's like on a cliff by the sea or some shit. And then like downtown Gotham is 20 miles away. That's what it usually looks like.
Yeah.
But not here. Here he's just leaving and coming back and leaving and coming back. He is killing the planet, sir, with those gasoline / jet fumes that he puts out with his bat car or Batmobile. But yeah, anyway, he goes back to downtown because Gordon calls him with the light, the bat signal, and he is very mean to Gordon in this. I thought, like,
yeah,
it was weird because they have a pretty established relationship by now in the comics, so or in this timeline at least, if it's supposed to be right after. So he's like,
for sure,
yeah, like him and Gordon don't get along at all, and even the other cops are like, why do you hang out with that guy again? And he's like, I don't know. I think he's okay. So there's something good in him, even though he's a vigilante or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
he's like, here, go. You should go track down this cat burglar because there might be some information there.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't got time for some fucking woman burglarizing. Can't your men take care of that or whatever? Like the way he dismisses her.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't have time for this bullshit. I'm busy taking on real crime like the Joker. Can't your lackeys or whatever, your policemen, at least take care of Catwoman. So he leaves, after that, after that nice conversation with Gordon. And then while he's kind of waiting on top of a clock tower, he sees Catwoman. And he's like, oh, fuck it. Might as well chase her and, get her to be arrested at least. So he starts chasing her and she's like, oh, sweet. We're playing a game. Like she's in like cat and mouse mode or bat and cat mode or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Cat and flying mouse mode. There you go. And she's like, in her outfit that she wears. This looks a lot like the Jim Lee early 2000s one, like the one from Hush.
Yeah.
It looks like a prototype for the Hush one, personally. Where it's like, it looks like kind of like Michelle Pfeiffer's, where it's all leather or whatever, or like, what is that she puts, vinyl or whatever?
Vinyl-y, yeah.
And then, but she's got the goggles like the Jim Lee ones, but they're not round or roundish. They're kind of squared off or angular. So
yeah, they kind of look more like pilot-y a little.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a little bit more like a pilot's hat left, and it's even got the chin strap and stuff that she doesn't have strapped down. So, but yeah, so she's got a cool design, I think. But they start talking, and she's very much like flirting. She's like, he's like, stop. Like, give me the bag. And she's like, I'll show you mine if you show me yours or whatever, like trying to be all like sexy with him. He's like, stop fucking around. Like, I don't have time for this. And then there's this great panel, I thought, where he like, she turns around real fast and she like, it just looks like she's giving him a lap dance while he's
she like grinds up against
him. Yeah, she's like grinding
exactly
into
what
him.
She's doing.
And yeah, I was like, wow. Just like a very like, she is in a different zone or area in her mind than he is right now.
Yeah.
He is misreading the situation very
complete opposite ends.
Yeah, exactly. He is like, one, I'm sick. Two, get the fuck off me. I'm not in any mood for this. And then she's like, but I thought we were going steady or whatever, like I thought we were gonna have love time or whatever. And he's like, no. So
as he starts coughing, hacking up a lung.
And the further in the comic we go, he's like literally coughing up a lung or whatever. But she kind of recounts like, what are you talking about? We've always had a game back and forth. He's like, this isn't time for games. And like, and so like she recounts some of the like fun times, with the first Robin and her and him and everything, where they chase each other. But then she gets mad because he's like, I don't give a fuck about this. It was never a game. And then like he says, sick people like you, and she's like, sick people like me. And she like, then they start to fight because she like gets mad about that, and she actually like tries to whip him and kicks him and all this stuff.
She almost gets the better of him because he's sick, actually.
Yeah, well, he does the she starts to run away after like trying to hit him and kick him a couple times and everything. And then she's like, that's it. Like, that's the old chase or whatever. And so he's all pissed off. That's why he's chasing her. And she does like a jump, like a Matrix style jump to another building. She makes it barely, but you hear like a crack in the statue that she landed on. Because every building here has Gothic, gargoyles.
Gargoyles hanging off and stuff.
So he grabs that gargoyle with his hand and it broke off. It had actually cracked on the neck when she hit it, and then it fully cracked off because it's made of cheap concrete. No rebar or anything in it or anything. So he grabs it with his hand and it breaks off, and then he falls. He falls to the ground and like literally.
Yeah, I don't know how many stories that is, but like he falls from really high up.
Yeah. And of course, the obligatory Batman scene in every fucking comic, movie, whatever. Because he fell, he has a flashback of how his parents died.
There's the pearls.
Because, and this is supposed to be like we said, everything's kind of going together with the story, like the Christmas Carol story. So we should say he technically meets the ghost of Christmas past with Catwoman. Yeah, that's why she brings up the past with him and Robin and all that stuff.
What it is, I'm sorry. We should have said when he sees the Robin suit, he has a flashback of like when Good Times with Robin, and then he kind of gets a thing of like, basically like, I this is sad to think about. And then the story is like, he'll have to keep thinking about it because tonight he'll be visited by 3 quote unquote ghosts.
Right. And that's
what the story says.
And that Robin is supposed to be his partner, much like Marley or whatever. Marley and Marley. Oh, I don't know. I only know the Muppets.
The Muppet one, yeah. No, I do too. I love that one. I love the Muppet one, and then Scrooge with Albert Finney.
Yeah. Anyway, Robin is supposed to be the Marley ghost that officially shows up at the beginning. That starts off the past, present, and future ghosts that show up. Yeah. So the Catwoman is supposed to be the first ghost, and then
because she talks about the past and all the the times they had playing cat and mouse, and like, you used to be so fun, Bruce. Why are you so grumpy and mean now?
Yeah. And then that's why we get the shot of his parents dying, because that's the past, right? So that's what made him the person he is today or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then as he falls, we're like, and now we're in the present, so who shows up to help him out? But right as someone flies down, it's Superman, who's like, Bruce, need some help? And he's like
glowing.
Yeah, he's like glowing because it's supposed to be the ghost of Christmas present. And he's like all in colorful garb, which is what the one in the Christmas Carol was, and he's larger than life and all this shit. So
this was my favorite of the ghosts, because I thought it was like okay, well, that makes sense. Like, who would be the bright shiny boy or a man of goodwill and everything? Like, of course it would be Superman.
Right. And then one thing I liked is that Superman sees him coughing, and then he looks inside of him, and he looks inside of Batman with his X-ray vision, and you just see like complete pneumonia and like broken ribs and all this shit. So like he's like, Bruce, you really should be in the hospital. And he's like, fuck you, I'm busy trying to do something tonight or whatever, get Joker or and so Superman is trying to help him, but Bruce won't accept it, and he's like, well, at least let me fly you to your Batmobile, wherever you parked it, because he parked it somewhere, and then we ran on all the rooftops with Catwoman. You got to go back 12 blocks or wherever the fuck that was. So,
yeah, with broken ribs and like full lungs and all that shit.
Yes. So I will say, this kind of was funny in like it made Batman a little bit more ridiculous sounding in the real world, because it's like, oh yeah, if he parks the Batmobile somewhere and gets out and then chases someone for like on the rooftops, then he's got to like, hold on a second, let me huff it back to my car. And then luckily, like in the shows and stuff, usually they just show him like push a button
and the car
comes to him or whatever. But this just made it was like, why didn't he do that now or whatever? And it just was funny because apparently he's got to huff it back in this world to where it is or whatever. So but in the meantime, while they're going to his Batmobile, they start talking, and he's like, Bruce, like, you know what people say about you or whatever. And basically we just kind of we get like a because the scene from the Christmas Carol is about him thinking that he's like a pillar of the community, Scrooge is, and then he gets to see what people actually say about them behind or about him behind closed doors in the present, where they're like, he used to be good, but now he's fucking terrible or whatever. I hate that guy. So like basically they're looking at the Cratchit guy, and he's seeing what like kind of squalor they live in, and like why is this how it is, and like they hear what he says about his employer, and how like terrible it is working there. So he's like, that's you. Yeah, that's you, Bruce. You're a terrible employer, and you might think that you're a pillar of this community, but people talk about you behind your back. And then we see like other people that I guess Superman just picks him up, and then I don't know, he must be hearing.
I think this is him carrying him over the city and being like, look at all these people like all around the city down there on their luck, and like I guess he's kind of like showing them as he flies over is how I presume.
They're down on their luck, but they're still happy with their lives. But they are, from what I get, they're taught. They all are. He's like, look how happy they are with what they have. They're like meager existence, like with family and everything in the holidays. And what do you have? Like you don't have anything right now because you're a mean guy.
There's two lines here because Batman tells him later, like, because Superman's like, yeah, not everything's so black and white. Not everything is as it seems. And Batman says a line that's really close to the Christmas Carol, is because the Christmas Carol is like, yeah, well, people should go ahead and die or whatever and decrease the surplus population. And Batman says like, oh yeah, well, maybe all these criminals need to get locked up so they can decrease the surplus criminal population, whatever is how he says it like that. And then when Superman's flying around and showing him these things, he's like, you need to learn the difference and see from like the lions and the lambs of people. Like not everybody is out to get everybody, and not everybody is, going down a bad path just because they're in a meager or horrible situation.
Right. Just because they're poor doesn't mean that they're terrible people or something. And then the other thing that I'll say the whole time he's flying him, he's picking him up by under his armpits, which is funny. He's holding him out in front of him. Superman is. He's holding Batman out by his armpits. And it's just funny looking. Like he's flying him around.
It's one of three ways I think about Superman flying people. Is like holding Lois, like holding her. But sometimes I've also seen him hold Lois to the side, and she's kind of technically flying too with him, right? But then this is the best one of like holding someone by their armpits and just like letting the body hang down below.
Yeah. It reminded me of a Christmas Story when his little brother can't keep his arms down.
Yes.
It's like that. He's literally, I can't put my arms down, Superman. So that's what he looks like. He just can't put his arms down. But the main guy he brings him to see how people talk about him behind his back is Commissioner Gordon, and the cop that, I thought this was like kind of bullshit actually, or like at least fucked up a little bit. There's a cop who is on duty who's supposed to be like patrolling or whatever while the Joker and Catwoman are out and everything. And Gordon was like, yeah, why don't you stop by my house for some hot cocoa? And, I'm like, but he's getting paid right now to patrol fucking Gotham. So why are you taking him away from his job to have cocoa?
It's his 15-minute break to come inside, warm up, get some cocoa, and then get back out on the street.
They are in cars. He's not walking the beat.
Maybe he is. He could be a beat cop.
Yeah, but not in the snow. Not in the snow.
The 20 degrees of weather outside with all this snow.
Yeah. I doubt they walk the beat in that. They're driving around in their police cars, is what I'm assuming, in the warm police.
The heat doesn't always work so well.
Okay, whatever.
It's bad that you think they have the nicest police cars. This is Gotham, sir.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. They don't have heat or air conditioning or radio or anything there. So anyway, but that cop that's with him that's supposed to be working is like, man, fuck that Batman, huh? Like, and also, just how do you let him, go through the streets that as like a vigilante, and like you hear Gordon doesn't really talk him down. He doesn't say like, yeah, you're right or anything, or like talk shit about him. But he definitely is like, well, I don't think he's as bad as you say necessarily, but you have a point. And so yeah, he basically just gets to hear how shitty people talk about him behind his back.
Yeah.
Which is, what happens with the ghost of present in Scrooge. So, or in the Christmas Carol. So he drops him off finally at the Batmobile, Superman does. And Batman is coughing like a motherfucker now. Probably because Superman at the end was grabbing him by his chest and compressing him as he flew. But and also holding yourself by the arms probably doesn't help your lungs breathe either,
Yeah.
But yeah, so he leaves him and he's like, hope you feel better, Bruce. And then as he like pushes the little button to unlock the Batmobile, he's like, bloop, bloop, it like explodes. And Superman just flies off, doesn't turn around and go like, oh my God, it exploded. Yeah, no, he just flies off.
That's true. One thing he said he could hear Batman coughing from Metropolis, but then Superman just flew away, and then this Batmobile explodes. You would think he would turn around.
No, he put ear,
he put his AirPods in.
Yeah, exactly. I can listen to some vaporwave or whatever while he flies. Whatever what would he listen to while he flies? Metal?
Yeah.
Or?
I don't know. Well,
He's from Kansas. What do they listen in Kansas?
Garth Brooks.
There you go. Okay.
Some country. Good old country.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Garth Brooks. Man, okay. No offense if you like Garth Brooks. Everybody has different tastes.
Everybody's got, but where the bodies, Garth.
Yeah, exactly. That's an inside joke for a different podcast. But yeah, so as he explodes, or as the car explodes, he gets blown back and he's got like a concussion and stuff. And the ghost of Christmas Future comes, who's supposed to be, if you know the story, he's like kind of looks like the Grim Reaper or something. He's like a ghostly hooded figure.
Yeah.
But this
and he doesn't speak to him at Scrooge at all.
Yes. But in this one, he's like the guy, the narrator is like, I always thought that was weird that he didn't talk. So in this one, the guy does talk, and the guy who's dragging the Batman, who is like concussed from the explosion, is the Joker. The Joker has found him and is like, I've always hated you and everything, and I'm going to show you, what look, I'm going to give you a Christmas present early, basically. And so he takes him to the cemetery, drags Batman there, and throws him in a grave and buries him alive. So he gets to see, just like in Christmas, he gets to see his grave stone or whatever, but he's actually buried in it in this as Batman. And then a weird thing happens. I thought this was quite odd, but he gets to see the future after he dies.
I think he's having a fever dream, is what.
Yeah, it's a fever dream of what the future would look like after he's dead. So what the future looks like is and this is kind of like a mix of what kind of happens in Dark Knight Returns, and the Joker movie, I'd say, where like there's two gangs. One's called they don't say what they are, but basically it's like the Sons of the Joker and the Sons of the Batman, and then they're like fighting each other and looting, and anybody who loots gets like beat to death by baseball bats and shit by the Batman gang because they're holding up, or they're defeating crime or whatever, right?
Yeah, justice comes at a price.
Yeah, and he's like smashing people's heads with a baseball bat. And then the other side is you see, Joker kids running around causing chaos and everything. And then when they see each other, they fight, of course, and kill each other. So none of them are wearing armor, though. All of these kids are fucking stupid, wearing like one guy, the main guy that they show, he's just wearing like I guess it would be like I don't know, like chest suspenders.
Yeah,
a chest belt with suspenders on it. I don't know what it would be for. I don't
know what purpose it serves, but
yeah, it looks like something that would be on top of armor in like a Mad Max movie or something. It's just the leather straps that go around his shoulders and his chest. No protection at all, but he does have a bat tramp stamp, which I thought was funny because just tramp stamps are funny.
I did.
Batman.
There was another guy that had a big bat symbol tattooed across his whole chest, and that says "revenge" inside the bat. I thought that was fun too.
Are you gonna get that one?
Yeah, that's definitely my next tattoo.
Sweet. Yeah, and then like we see a flash that Gordon is going to prison or he's on in a court case, or he's in a court right now in the future for aiding and abetting Batman and his crimes and everything because he helped a vigilante and all that and caused all this mayhem to happen.
Oh, Batman's fault. Or it's all Jim's fault for helping Batman.
I thought this was funny. He's like for malfeasance in office and an accessory to a crime or a criminal, he gets 30 years without probation. I was like, that seems a bit steep for those charges. It wasn't like murder or like abetting while someone murdered someone. It's like you just helped this guy who was breaking the law, kind of, or whatever, just technically. And then office malfeasance, so you weren't supposed to do that. Fucking 30 years in the slammer, no, no parole at all. So I thought that was a bit harsh. And then basically we see Wayne Manor go to shit and everybody sells his stuff.
Yeah.
And Alfred is sad. That's about it.
And Alfred is sad.
Yeah, Alfred's kind of like, well, whatever. Like, he doesn't look that sad. So, they just show him like bawling and holding, like they show an auction happening with all of his shit. And there's a painting that they're auctioning. It should have been like the Wayne family painting. And someone bids like, if they say starting at 60,000, someone should be like 5,000. And then they're like sold. And as it sells, it would be funny if Alfred ran up and tried to steal the painting crying or whatever. Like, no,
no, you can't do this.
Yes, exactly. This is, you are animals or whatever, whatever the fuck Alfred would say. But yeah, it was just, I just thought that it was a little understated how sad Alfred would be, personally. But so then he wakes up and he's like freaking out inside of the coffin. That it's weird that he would bury him in a coffin. I would think he just threw him in the hole and then buried him with dirt, but he threw him in a coffin. And so he gets some air a little bit while he's having this trip out dream. And then we see that his gravestone says, "Here lies a bat. He died boring, predictable, and nobody loved him." So that's what the Joker wants everybody to think about Batman. But because he's Batman, he realizes that's what he doesn't want the future to be. So he punches his way out, just like Kill Bill, and literally just punching, out. His hand reaches the surface, and then he's able to pull himself out. So that was pretty hard. He didn't have to put anything in his mouth or anything.
Nope.
Like, he could have had reached out to his belt and put like a little oxygen thing or something, but nope. He just fucking ate through that dirt or whatever and pulled himself out. And now he knows, like, okay, Joker just buried me. And I don't know if he knows how long he's been there, but for sure the Joker is coming to Bob's house now to get his money. So you get a little knock, a little rap on the door. And who could it be, Timmy? Is it Santa Claus? And as Timmy opens the door, yelling, "Santa, is that you?" You think his dad would be like, "Don't answer the fucking door," But no, he didn't say anything about. He didn't want to worry his kid. Why would you want to tell your kid there's a mass murderer who's going to kill me tonight? Don't answer the door.
Don't go at the door.
Yeah. But as he opens the door, you see the Joker's face appear, and he goes, "Ho, ho, ho," or whatever the fuck. I imagine it's like that Santa Claus when in A Christmas Story. And he's like, "Ho, ho, ho."
Yeah, kicks him down the. This is really good, and to
be fair, he doesn't kick him. He pushes his head. Yeah.
Yes. I really did like this. This is actually one of my favorite pages in the whole comic. Like, it's the shadowing on Joker's face, like looking through the door, and it looks it's very Shining-esque looking.
I was gonna say it looks exactly like the Shining scenes where he's like reaching, his face is pushing kind of into the door.
Yeah,
and he's got like a crazy look in his face, and I bet he used that reference.
Yeah. He did it. The art in this is so, like, we haven't talked about it as much, but seriously, like,
beautiful.
All the art in this is so beautiful.
I want to know how long it took to draw this, because in the end of this book, they show, like, because it's like a trade paperback, they show the extra material. They show penciled pages that are like mind blowing. Like, I was like, holy fuck. Like, that's how his pencils look. Because I've seen some pencils by some unnamed artists that I will not talk about that are like, oh, okay. Like, they don't do any of the shading or anything. They just kind of, if they do, they just kind of like hatch it out. Like, this is where your inking is going to go to shade or whatever, But the rest of the penciling looks really detailed. and the face and stuff, but they don't show any of the shadows and stuff. He draws and fills in all the shadowing, all the everything, all the lighting.
Minimal ink goes into his what he has left to do.
I would imagine the guy just goes like just let me just outline this literally, like he's literally a tracer, at that point. But he did his own. I mean, he did his own inking and his own. I think he did his own coloring in this too. The only other name credited in this is a letterer. So I think he did everything in this.
So and the lettering is a little different.
Oh yeah, we didn't really talk about that, but the Christmas Carol part of it is on top of all the imagery, and it looks a little. To me, I thought this was like an earlier comic just because of the lettering. I thought it was like an early 2000s because it looks kind of like an early font from a digital like stencil or a digital font or whatever, or a digital place. So I don't know. It looked weird to me, but what about you? Did you notice it, John, at all?
I would say that like the lettering looked a little odd, but it didn't take me out of it, and I got used to it really quick.
It took me out of it at first, and then I kind of got used to it after a while. So.
It reminds me of like fonts that you see a lot of times on people, like when they take like Facebook or Instagram photos and put like writing over top of it. That's what this reminds me of. It looks kind of like that.
Yeah, it's just kind of like off. Every letter is slightly not on the line or whatever, but in different ways or whatever. So like different lengths.
Yeah, like they're not like if you normally write on a line, but the letters are like one letter's like a little above that, one letter would be a little below. Yeah, it's a little off. Yeah.
Little wonky, which kind of just took me a second to get used to, because also we're talking about A Christmas Carol, which isn't like a child's story necessarily. It's a very well-regarded British, literary book. So so I don't necessarily think like child's writing or whatever. And this just looked like kids writing to me, but I got used to it. It looked odd for a 2013 book to be like that weird looking, but everybody got different style, like preferences for writing, for like lettering. But yeah, so anyway, Joker barges in the room and is instantly, scaring the kid. And Bob runs in as Joker's kind of like how am I going to hurt you?
He's got like, I've got a sack of treats here too, like Santa. Let's see what's inside.
And there's a gun and a hammer and there's a hammer, or just, I think it's a pipe. It's a pipe, gun, a lead pipe.
It's the things from Clue, the game he mentions.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's like, we're gonna play Clue. Was it Miss whatever in the parlor with the candlestick, or the and it's funny because he's got a really small wrench. I thought that should have been a bigger like pipe wrench or something. But apparently the lead Bermejo doesn't know what other wrenches look like. So he's just got a very it's a 1-inch adjustable wrench or whatever. So not a lot of leverage or heftiness on that one, but for sure he's got all this stuff from the game Clue, and he's kind of like playing. He's like, let's play a game. I could be Miss Scarlet with the lead pipe or whatever, and like kill you in your house basically. And so as he's talking to the kid, as Joker's about to beat the kid to death with a wrench, Bob runs out with a baseball bat, and he's like, "Don't you touch my son!" And he swings.
He's like, don't you know there's no baseball bats in Clue?
yeah. He swings, and he gets a big whiff. He totally doesn't hit the Joker at all, and Joker's able to backhand him with the wrench that's in his hand. Then he's like, you know what? Let me just get this gun and take care of this. So he's about to shoot Bob in the face. And he's like, the question is, who killed Bob? And as he's like laughing about that, he's like, I win. I killed Bob in the kitchen with the revolver. Batman flies through the one window. There's only one window in this house that we've been watching this family through. He flies through it, breaks in, glass flies everywhere, and he's able to kick the gun out of Joker's hand. And then Bob gets the gun and is like, I'm going to kill you. You son of a bitch. Like, yeah, threaten my son. You want to play games with our lives? I'll show you how to play games. And then he cocks the gun back. And then Batman's like, no, you're not a criminal, Bob. you got to show your son the kind of man you are or whatever. And
Yeah.
Joker's like, yeah, let her rip, like shoot me or whatever. And he's ready for it. And he's like, show your son what a hero is. And then Bob just decocks it, and it would have been funny if he tries it and it just goes off and shoots Joker in the face, but or shoots him in the leg or something. But yeah, anyway, he decocks it and doesn't shoot Joker, and then
Joker's like, boring, man.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like he just like, what? That's it. I thought something was going to happen there, like a knife comes out of his shoe and then he kills Bob, or something, gas, or I don't know.
Yeah, but
something
nothing
happens.
Joker has nothing left up his sleeve.
Yeah, he only brought that one sack tonight. He did just break out of prison, so maybe he hasn't had time to put all his wacky devices in play. But yeah, so he gets arrested by the police, and Bob, gets to have a nice Christmas with his son now, having be the hero. And then we see Joker's in Arkham, in his straitjacket, and everybody lives happily ever after. Alfred comes down and sees Batman, with his he's got his shirt off, of course, and he just sleeps in front of his fucking computer monitor. That can't be good for you.
No, I'm sure it's not.
It's not on night mode or anything either. Yeah, he's sick. He's just, he passed out or whatever. He's covered in band-aids because he went through the class. But because he had his epiphany and he realized that Bob is not a bad guy, he must have made a call before he fell asleep. But basically, he sends Bob a Christmas tree. I mean, is the day after, or is this Christmas Day now, right?
I assume, yeah, it's the next morning.
Okay.
And yeah, he's got Bob. They wake up, Bob and his son are have winter clothes on because it's cold in their apartment.
Yeah, the window's broken, so it's just
Thanks, Batman, for fucking breaking my window. But
yeah,
there was already drafty in this place,
and now we just have a full freeze going on in the apartment. Hope you don't have any water, water pipes in there. But anyway, yeah, he gets a knock on the door, and then some guys just barge in. Don't even say what they are. They barge in with a Christmas tree, and they're like, "Hope you wanted this." And they leave it for him, and then he gets like a package in the mail that says he gets a raise and benefits and PTO and a 401k, the works. So before this, he had no days off, no 401k, no benefits at all. So and whatever salary he got before that. So and then everybody's happy about that.
Everybody at the police station's like, yeah, well, I guess Batman's okay again.
Yeah, and that was the end of that chapter. So and then the kid, we see Bob. He doesn't grow up, or Bob's son Tim doesn't grow up to be a criminal. He's running through the streets as a child now, playing Batman or Superman. It kind of looks like Superman to me, but Batman, he's running around with like a cape on and whatever. So yeah, that's what the story is. He got to see what a real hero was. His dad.
His dad's
and Batman.
Real hero.
His dad helped Batman catch the Joker and protected him against the Joker. So yeah, that's the end of that story. And yeah, John, what did you think of it? What would you give it?
It was fun. It was it was lightly influenced with the Christmas story involved in, but it was still fun. Like I liked the direction that it went with it, and I was fine with Batman being the Scrooge that because he was in a bad grumpy place for a couple of years, I guess, and he needed to be reminded of why not everybody is a POS.
Right.
So
an SOB.
And yeah, an SOB. So it was fine, and the story was fun. I would say nothing really really big happened. There wasn't like a really big fight, or there wasn't any really big. And it led to these moments of like, what? Like something's happening, and then then it just kind of moved into the next arc, which I get because that has to fit the narrative of the Christmas story. So it was definitely, I would say, tamer for a Batman story as far as Batman fighting actual crime and or detective work. But again, for the narrative that it was going for of being like a a mirror of Charles Dickens novel.
Right.
I think it was really fun, and I liked all of the nods that they gave to Here's a Story. Like I said, that I really enjoyed that story in general. So I liked the little nods that they gave to it. Again, the art was phenomenal. I liked Catwoman and her little grindy scene.
Yes.
I,
Yeah.
li- I liked I like that we say it did show when he had like his Ghost of Christmas Past Robin flashback. It did show like kind of like his Rogues Gallery villains too, and that was a really beautiful splash page that they had.
Yes.
All the splash pages in this of something big happening were really beautiful. When Batman comes through the window, the next page, like the whole top half of the page is Batman coming through the window, the glass going everywhere, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I really enjoyed his artwork in this, and I think that what elevated this story is the art direction of it. That's kind of what you were focused on, I think,
For sure.
Part.
Yeah.
So overall, I would say I would give this one. I would give it a 7. This is a really solid like story because of the what it's combining. It's not the best like Batman story, but it's a good story for what it's trying to do.
Right. Would you give this one like only on Christmas, or is this more than a Christmas read?
No, this is a Christmas read. I don't think I would be like, I'm in a Christmassy mood and I'm reading comics, like, oh, I'm gonna reread Batman Noel. That was fun.
Yeah, would you reread this one, do you think? Like,
yeah, I think I would.
I think I would too. Yeah.
I rewatched Scrooge pretty much every year, so I don't see. Yeah, I mean, if I was like reading comics, and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to read some Christmassy comics, I would read this one. I would reread that Hellboy we read a couple years back. That was fun.
Yeah, check out our Christmas podcast from the original 10 issues or 10 episodes. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah,
episode 4 or 5, but yeah. So what number? You said 7, right?
7. Yeah, 7. It was solid. This is a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I liked the art. The art in this one is really the standout, right? Like,
yeah,
it's so amazing. Bermejo can really like nail. There was no weird pages in this. There was no like, it looks beautiful every page. And like you said, the amount of work in some of those pages where they have like the Rogues Gallery and all that stuff, really just very cool to see his designs on some of those characters. And just like, he really gets the point across what he's trying to tell, because a lot of it is flashbacks or whatever. Like, even in his art style where he's so precise and everything, like you can see like the fuzzies around the edge, so it's a a callback or something. Like, there was no confusion in it or anything. Everything flowed well. A lot of it is double page spread, so that's cool too. But yeah, I think I will give this one like a 6.5. Yeah, like a 6.5, because because it's like, okay, we have to make Batman fit the Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
And I know you said you were like, oh, I'm okay with Wayne being Scrooge or whatever, but to me, I was like, that just is weird to me, that like he's supposed to be like the only good billionaire, right? Like he's supposed to be the straight and narrow guy all the time, even when he's pissed off and everything. I can only think of a couple. There was a comic around this time called Venom, where it was actually the origin of the stuff that Bane takes or whatever.
Yeah.
It was in Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, like issues 14 through 17 or something like that. And it was like Batman's taking this stuff called Venom to get him through like a sickness, I think is what it is. Or like, it's like vitamins or something that he starts taking. But it's called Venom. And it's like, it ends up making him like roided out, basically. Okay. Where he's like, fuck you. Like, he just goes like insane. But it's because of that, And because like this is just him with PTSD from Robin, I was kind of like, all right, like, I mean, I can stretch that, but the fact that Wayne is also like that, and that means that Wayne was like that prior to as well. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know when he started not paying people well, but it was probably even before Robin died. You know what I'm saying? So like, if I had to guess, like one day he wasn't like everybody's making $5 an hour or whatever, like, and then like that's the day Robin died, and then after that, before that they were making 15 or whatever.
No time off.
Exactly. No time off. No, no benefits, no anything, and everybody's like, okay, we will still work for you. I think, he probably wasn't paying people the whole time, at least in continuity of the story. So like.
It's Gotham. Where are you going to work? You're either going to be a criminal, maybe work for like the police department.
Are you going to work for Falcone?
Yeah, work for Falcone, the police. Maybe a random grocer or store, or you're going to work for Wayne because like that's like the only things there are there.
He owns everything.
Pretty. I mean, it's technically it's Wayne Enterprises, right? And we don't know what all of that encompasses.
Subsidiary of Wayne.
But I mean, every time we get a little bit of back in that, whether it's in a movie or the comic or whatnot, it's like, oh, it's military stuff. Oh, it's also medical supplies. Oh, it's also like he was selling there was like stealing televisions in Batman Begins, if I remember correctly. And they're like, the
Wayne televisions.
Yeah. So like, who knows? Like you basically, Batman is kind of like Jeff Bezos. Like he's a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah, they did have like I don't know if they did do it in White Knight, but it wasn't the government that did it. It was actually Bruce Wayne himself. But a little spoiler for White Knight. But basically, the government could like trust break. You have like a TR guy that's like a Teddy Roosevelt politician who's like, these big corporations are monopolies. Let me break them up, and then it ends up being like. It's the Joker or something, or it's Ra's al Ghul trying to get control over stuff or something. Like you just have that storyline. There you go. I would read that. It'd be weird, but I'd read it. So actually, you can do that now because there's like all this stuff going on in Batman with like politics all the time, like mayors and shit getting elected that are bad or whatever. There's a guy named the Magistrate that's like in charge of Gotham. So it's like that's what's happening right now in DC. I'm not reading it, but that's what I've heard. So you do that story now where they're like, we're going to break up all these Wayne Enterprises. And so, but anyway, yes, I think if you just kind of think of this as a one shot, maybe an Elseworlds, just like a nice Christmas read. It's only 90 pages or something like that too. Yeah. So it's pretty short. It's got really good art. Yeah, if you look at it just kind of like in a one-shot thing, it's it's a fantastic read as far as the art's concerned, and the story, if you like A Christmas Carol, is fun. It's kind of fun to see the parallels they're going for with that story being told over the Batman story. And so, I'm going to give it a 6.5. I think it's definitely worth reading, especially during the holidays when you're like in the Christmas mood. But yeah, so what are we reading next week, John?
What are we reading next week? Next week we're doing. I'm blanking. What did we agree? What did we agree on?
Okay, so let me set this up. We had someone join one of our coffee tiers.
That's right.
So first off, shout out to Otaku Mike, who's been a constant follower and liker of our podcast. He also has a podcast named Otakuology, which talks about manga and stuff like that more often. They also talk about comics in general and just fandom and stuff. But for the most part, they talk about manga stuff overall. But he's been a follower of ours for a long time, and so he actually subscribed to our coffee membership, which was the $2 membership, which is awesome. And that means you get to pick a book that we do. And so, because we kind of play it loose and fast when we decide what we want to read every week, we have like a list of stuff, but we also just can pick whatever we want if we decide to. So next week we are doing his request, which is Battle Pug Compendium. So it's the Battle Pug storyline, which is a indie book from I think Image. That is like it looks like Conan the Barbarian with a giant pug.
A giant pug he rides on. It's yeah.
I have not read it at all. John, you have read some of the issues, right?
I've read a couple of them, yeah.
So you're a little bit more familiar with it, but
and excited to finish it all.
Yeah. So we will be reading the compendium, which is actually pretty hefty. It's a pretty thick book, but all I know is that when it came out, it's in like the same format as 300. Like it's like one of those wide looking books. like if every page is a double page spread or something.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I'm interested to see what it gets into. It just looks kind of like a fun book overall. So we will be talking about that. I also, while searching for it, found out there's a lot of pug-based books. Apparently, pugs are loved by comic creators. There's a comic called Grumble, which is by Albatross, which is the company that The Goon is published by.
Okay.
And so it's own. I think it's published by Eric Powell, and it's like let's say Hellblazer meets a pug.
Oh, awesome.
So we'll call it that. But apparently, yeah, I'm thinking maybe we should do that sometime soon as well, just because it seems ridiculous and fun. It's like, dark arts detective who is also a talking pug.
Nice.
What
I'm down. I will say that pugs are one of my favorite dogs. I will never own one. They have too many health issues. I know that you can get a healthy one, and and they're wonderful dogs. They are. And I love them. They're one of my favorites. I won't have one, but I do love them. So I'm excited to finish this. And yeah, I'm down for more pug anything. So,
well, my view on pugs is that they're an abomination to creation. So, so someone made them and they were wrong. That's if your eyeballs could pop out of your head from stress.
To be fair, that's really what I'm not going to go on a long rant, but that is part of what it is that they were bred into the smushy face thing. Now, if you look at old paintings from Chinese dynasties, like those pugs have much more like elongated faces and like they can actually breathe and didn't have as many health problems. But
they're not as cute because they don't.
Yeah, when you inbreed dogs a bunch, that's unfortunately what you get. But they're working on it. There are a lot of really good people out there that are trying to help do that with like bulldogs and pugs and Frenchies and stuff.
Yeah,
but I'll get off my. I'm a very big animal lover. So, but that being said, you could adopt a pug from Pug Rescue to help one, or you could also do if I got a pug, it would probably be like a pug mix, so it wouldn't be full.
There you go.
But anyway.
Yeah. Enough about pugs, except we're going to read Battle Pug next week. So that should be fun. Thank you, Otaku Mike, so much for donating and or becoming a tier member. And if you would like to become a tier member, we have a couple tiers there. It is on coffee, ko-fi.com/planes, trains, and comic books, all one word. And all you got to do, you can donate if you want, just one time, or you can become a tier member where we have a couple tiers. The first one is a $2 tier, which you get to suggest a book to us that we will put in our reading list for one of the main episodes. And we'll go through that and everything, and you get a shout out, and then maybe a couple other things in the future. We'll see. And there's another tier where if you like Matt's minis and you like Hellblazer or want to know anything about John Constantine, I'm doing a Matt's minis John Constantine for that other tier. So I believe it's $3 a month. Because it's a lot of extra work. So I'm trying to pump those out in tandem with Swamp Thing. So speaking of, I have to go record that after this and and put that out for this week. But if you would like that membership, please go to ko-fi.com/planes, trains, and comic books. We really appreciate any and all support. Even if you just go to our YouTube and subscribe to our reviews and stuff that we do on there, and or comments or any of that kind of stuff. We really appreciate anything people do, listen, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I was to say all feedback is great. Let us know what you like. Let us know what maybe you like to see changed if there's something with format. But we appreciate your support. Like you said, we could do Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We've got all the social media out there. We appreciate everyone, and I guess on that note, we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one, and we hope you guys have happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
All right. Bye.
Bye.